This is Myra McKnight with Can We Talk? And I am excited to have a sister, a friend, a person that I admire, that we're close in spirit and ideology. And, you know, she's the kind of person that's real talk, but then she's a fiery minister as well on the other side. So she can play both sides. I think she's a little nicer than I am when it comes to getting those things across, but, you know, but she gets it across. And that's Roxanne Brown Robinson. And she is a person in the community that's doing a lot of things, a lady that's on the move, and she's doing some things with young girls. And I'm going to let her tell you about that as well. So I'm glad to have her here in the studio. We're going to talk about an array of things, but I'm going to piggyback on the mature woman. And not so much about relationships, but you're going to be able to hear, so stay tuned. But let me introduce Roxanne Brown Robinson, and I'm glad to have you on the show with me today, Roxanne.
Well, hey, Myra, as always, I'm excited to be in your presence and to speak to your audience. It's a great time to be a woman.
Absolutely.
Believe it or not, because there's revelation and there's truth in what God wants us to reveal about ourselves so that we can empower the next generation. So I'm fired up, I'm pumped up with what God has for us to say and talk about this today.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate that. I really do. First of all, and I know what you're doing around town and all over the country. I know what you're doing, but I want you to tell our audience what you are doing and how you are getting across to your audience, those people, the young girls, the tweens, the teens, and the women across the country.
Absolutely. I consider myself, Myra, to be an empowerment specialist, guru, if you will. There's a master plan that God has for women, especially those women that are approaching the age of 50 and plus. Right. And what I'm doing is providing strategies, real strategies for success. And what does that mean? That means that the strategy has to be, number one, going to different churches, seminars, conferences, doing workshops in which women can delve into the deeper things inside of them, not so much the outward, because, you know, we can all put on the eyelashes and the hair and the makeup and all of that. But if we are dying inside, that vision that we have to empower the next generation, you know, we're sending a wrong message if we are messed up. Right. We cannot, they cannot glean off of us. And young women, especially, they can see right through the transparency. So I magnified the vision that God has for me, and I'm going, I want to go to different conferences and talk about what it means to be a God heir, what it means to truly understand what our purpose is individually and collectively, and that is simply to raise up the next generation. So I'm really excited about that, and I'm laser focused on that specific assignment.
Okay. What do you think is the biggest problem? Now, you know, I'm kind of the kind of person that my invite is for all women, all of them.
Yes.
And everywhere. And those that want to hear about the power of moving forward in life, you know, I want to be able to open those doors and have those opportunities so that they can help them to understand who they are and help them understand that where they're going in their life.
Yes.
So what do you think is the biggest drawback?
The biggest drawback is they are not being honest
with
themselves. They have not gone into their closet, if you will, and cleaned it out. I cleaned out every closet that I own, spiritually, emotionally, financially, and I began to look at my life and the women that I was helping, and I said, wow, there's some things that I still have not cleaned out. It could have been residue from a past relationship. It was the residue of friends who didn't take me seriously on what I was doing or didn't respect me enough to say, well, sis, you know what? I really admire what you're doing, but that's not for me. And so I had to clean clean out every closet in my life until it was totally empty. And I began to look at the clean slate that God has given me, like I'm looking at a canvas. And what does Roxanne, look like? What does Roxanne, what does she want people to see her as who she is? And what I saw was a combination of an eagle and a butterfly, both flying in a direction in which they're going somewhere high in the altitude, rather than a place of defeat, but moving in victory.
Right.
It's all about victory.
And so I think I hear you saying that you had to get rid of some people. You had to get rid of some places, some thoughts, some processes, some things. You had to clean your mind out. You had to not focus on what you had before, but move on to what you get now. You had to and make it a clean slate. And I remember doing that in my life, is that you down to zero. You ground zero now.
Oh, yes.
You know, a mom, you've been a mom and a wife and a mentor, and you've been all these things. But there's a time when you have to go back and you have to go to ground zero, because ground zero means that I'm starting to build this place, and I'm starting to go on my journey. Because you know what, Roxanne, what I have found, and I don't know, and you've probably found it in what you do too, is that there's a lot of people and even women that are not on their journey. Right. They don't even know what it means to be on a journey. Because they're living a different kind of way. Yes. And to be lost at 50 is a horrible thing. Yes, it is. To be lost at 60 and 70 is a horrible thing. And that's because you have not got on your journey. And you're still doing the same things you were doing at 20, 30, 40 years old. And you're making the same mistakes. And the results are the same. And then you've been beaten down to the point where, aches have come in, arthritis has come in, and weight has come in. Now we got to revamp the whole body, the whole mind, all our finances. Everything has to be revamped. Yes, everything. Yes. And you. This is where we are. So, and what you're saying is you haven't cleaned out your closet, but doesn't that take courage to do that, Roxanne? Yes, and what it not only courage, but it's saying to yourself, I'm putting my hand to the plow, and I have to do this for me. Absolutely. I have to do this for my children and my children's children and all of the next generation leaders, because if we do not do that, we will leave this world. We will go to our grave with our vision and everything else, and it's just been laying dormant. And I can honestly, say this. I met with a woman just a couple weeks ago, 70-some years old, who I thought was going to be a potential client. I met her at a conference, and she said, "Oh, we're kindred spirits," and so on and so forth. So we hooked up, because I'm a very personal person like you, Myra. And when I met with her, I became very depressed for her because she was 70-some years old and homeless. How in the world does that happen? And I began to ask myself, and then I sought the master, and he said she was not willing to clean out her closet. She was still attached to people that could not do anything for her. She was still attached to be the victim. Right. And I realized at that point, there's nothing that I can say to her that's going to help her. She has to be willing to take all the necessary steps to clean out the closet, to get away from people who are not like her. Right. And I still shared, I stayed an hour with her, but at the end of the day, I got in my car and I was like, W-O-W, wow. Women on a path of destruction. How in the world is she going to get out of that situation? And I kept in touch with her, hoping that she followed the steps that I gave her, and she just came up with excuse after excuse after excuse, because she's still in the victim seat and has not cleaned out anything. So she's still stuck. Yes. And it's amazing that you can be stuck at that age. You know,
Yes.
and that's why I said it takes courage. But something you said, and I wanted to make sure I bring this up, because this might be the push to help women understand why. Because you know what? Unfortunately, we always have a reason to help someone else, but we never have a reason to help ourselves.
Exactly.
And then we say, you know, you got to love yourself. And a lot of women don't know how to love themselves. Sometimes they think because, as you just said, you do the makeup, you do the hair, you do the toes and the nails, and you put the hair on, then you doing it for yourself. But you and nor I don't think we're talking about the outer extremity. We're talking about the internal part of who we are.
Yes.
So what you said, you're doing it for your children. What does that look like? Why should we do it for our children?
Because we are the example. If you look at any leader who has been successful, they have trained their children to be successful as well. And if I were to expound on that, my children have seen me go through so many facets of life and disappointment, and they see me as a strong person, so they gleaned off of that. And so whatever vision that God gave them for their marriage, for their life, I hear my son saying to me now, Mommy, I didn't get it when I was 15. I didn't get it when I'm 30. But now that I'm 40 and I have a son and a daughter that's looking up to me, it's my responsibility to show them the way. So thank you for that you were transparent enough to show us your flaws and you know everything that you went through, because it inspired them to take their life to the next level. That's what I mean by that.
Okay, and just for the audience, and I get that for sure, but I want our audience to get it, because it is so difficult for women to understand. Now, the question was, why should we do it for our children? Now, the next question is, why should we do it for us?
Oh, that is, I'm excited.
That's a question, right?
Yeah, you see, I got a big smile on my face, because when I cleaned out my closets, I began to set boundaries for my clients, my friends, even my children. And let everybody know I'm only available this time and that time, because I'm working on me. I'm working on what's going to make me happy, so that when I'm at the age when I retire, that I'm retiring and being able to go to the places that I want to go to in comfort. I'm not going to be eating out of cans. I'm not going to be asking my children to take care of me. I'm going to be taking care of me. So this season that I'm in, even though I'm leaving a legacy for my children, it's all about Roxanne. It's all about what's going to make me.
And that's bingo. You get the prize. Because that's what I wanted to get to. And I knew you knew it, but I want our audience to get it, because it's hard for us to realize that what we need to do for us, because we're always doing something for somebody else.
Yes.
So when we get to, and so it always takes something else to push us, like our children. Or like our parents, or like something else pushes us. But what pushes us to do for us? And what you just said is, that's a twofold, because if we're walking in that strength, then we're helping our kids. Because see, when we're at this 50 age part here, we don't want to have to worry about our children. So we want to be able to solidify them to where they see it and they live in it and they continue to grow in their own way, because it won't benefit us at all if we're always worrying and wondering about them.
Right.
So we nurture them, and you don't have to worry about them, because one thing you want to know is, my son can get a job, take care of himself, and do the right thing, and be a productive citizen and a good man in his life for his family. That's an ease that every mother, father wants to have. But then we got to go over here and realize that, okay, he's over there, she's over there. What about you now?
Right.
Now it's time to make sure you don't be a burden on your children in their life.
Right.
Because so many women have come to that point, they're living with their kids, and I understand circumstances. I'm not talking about that.
Right.
But I'm saying that you want that opportunity, whether you're married or whether you're unmarried, to be able to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
That's important. And there's always a thought of mine that I don't want to be in a position at 60, 70 years old and I got to call Roxanne and say, can I sleep on your couch?
Right, exactly.
No.
Right.
I don't want to call Roxanne and says I need $2 to get here and there, or can you send me a basket of food? Now, those that are unable to do, we want to help them to be able to do.
Yes.
Those that can do, we got to be able to do that.
Right.
And I think whether you're married or unmarried, you have to be in a position as a woman to stand up in your own heels.
Yes, and often too many times, even recently, I've talked to several women that are in transition in their marriages, and they are not equipped or set up that if whatever reason they decide that if it's abuse, which is mainly the only thing that I would tell a woman, you might need to move away from that relationship for a minute. They're not in a position to leave.
Absolutely.
Because they don't have anything set up to be self-sufficient.
Right. That's true.
That's a whole nother segment.
No, that's real though, because I had a client as well, and there was some infidelity and issues going on in the relationship, and she wanted him to get out the house. And I asked her, she had 2 children. I said point blank, are you ready for that? If he leaves, can you sustain you and your children? Can you live the way you living now? No. Well, that leaves women in the same predicament to continue to be abused, whether it's financially, physically, or emotionally, because they aren't able to sustain themselves if that person is no longer in their life.
Right.
And that only breeds stress and frustration, agitation, irritation, and a whole host of other things, and also what it does to the children as well. So as women grow and continue to grow, what are the things that are most important for women 50 plus going into that age group? What's most important for them to begin to do? Now, we talked about them clean out their closet. Mm-hmm. We talked about them being, I think the word of being transparent with yourself is important.
Yes.
Whether I'm transparent with Roxanne or not, I got to be transparent with myself.
Oh, absolutely. Right. And guess what? At the end of the day, like you just said, you don't want to, women shouldn't have to, sleep on somebody's sofa. And we understand sometimes there's circumstances.
Absolutely. Sometimes you have to. Right.
But here's the big thing. This is what I've learned. You have to position yourself to become financially sound.
Right.
And that means, okay, if you lost your job, what are you going to do now? Absolutely. If you decide you're going to be an entrepreneur, or whatever the case may be, you need a plan and a process and a system that's going to make sure that you can develop the wealth that you are looking for. So I'm working with somebody right now who is positioning me. I wrote down the vision for the rest of my life. And I'm like, wow, I might be 50% there, but I need to be 100% there. I'll say by this year, next year, I want to have a certain amount of money set away. And women don't think about that. They think, well, I got a husband and he's supposed to take care of me. Yes, he is. Priest, provider, protector, but you're missing the whole point.
Absolutely.
Like I'll give a keen example. When my father passed, and my mother now at 82 years old is looking at, wow, did we really plan for my husband to die?
Right.
Were we financially sound? And yes, he had a stroke and all that. And now she's doing things. She's a phenomenal woman. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But the reality and the truth of the matter is that she had to reorganize her life so that to be able to do things to sustain herself, so she wouldn't have to be a burden to her
on the kids.
We don't want to be a burden.
Right.
And so we need to be talking to financial experts that can get in position. And we'll always say, I don't have the money for that. But yet we have the money to buy a wig and hair, get a weave, our nails done, eyelashes on. We have money to go to all these things, but we are not working on a plan to improve self.
Right. Absolutely.
It has to be a priority to get your finances in order, meaning your house in order.
Absolutely. And it's no excuse. for any of us. It's no excuse. You know, and you don't have to be fancy with it. You know, you can write your goal on a piece of paper or a napkin and keep it in your pocket till you got some paper. You know, you don't just have to be so proper and prompt about it. It's just where you are. Wherever you are, work with what you have wherever you are. Definitely your finances, your credit is important. You know, saving money is important. You can go online to Capital One or any place and just open up account, no money, and open up and put $5 a month in there or $10 a month. I mean, there are things you can do. And I just think that, you know, there's a lot of resources, but it's about being transparent and says, you don't even have to ask, say, I need help. It's like, do you know of anybody? Do you know of this? You don't have to say, well, I need help. I need help. That sometimes people aren't able to do that. But if you can say, do you know how you can do this? Do you know of a person that does this? You have to be self-educated too.
Yes.
And if you got a cell phone and you got Wi-Fi, you can put, how do I?
Right. Yeah. I do it every day.
Nobody has to know.
Right.
You can Google anything that you need to Google and say, what is best for a woman at 55? What financial planner is for women who don't have? There's a lot of organizations that are willing to help you if you reach out to that. But if you don't, you're losing.
You are. And and there's a lot of women that will say, well, this is a phrase that really gets underneath my fingernails. I got so much on my plate. Well, whatever's on that plate, isn't there something that you need to remove?
Absolutely.
So you put something on your plate that will sustain you for the rest of your life. If you have not done that, then guess what? You're just like that mouse on the treadmill, and you just keep going and keep going, and you're not getting anywhere. Sometimes it's you got to change your location.
Absolutely.
And it could be down the street. It could be the next block. It could be the next state. Why are we so afraid to step out of our comfort zone and do the things that are going to make us be a woman of sustainability so that we can pour into somebody else? Like I said, that next generation that needs to know ahead of time. Make sure your credit's right. Make sure you got a financial plan. Make sure, you know what? I don't care how anointed you are. I don't care if you can speak in tongues and everything else. But if your personal life is jacked up, it means nothing.
It's no benefit to have a jacked up life, period. And I think that when you get to a certain point, you've had your kids, you are at the point, you should be at the point of what I call queenship.
Oh, yes.
You should be the queen.
Yes.
And you should be the queen. You portray the queen. You have reached that pinnacle in life. As my grandma say, you know, you won't know it till you get there. But when you get there, this is a space you've never been in before. So this is an opportunity for you to be the queen in which you have always, because you know what? You're able to dictate that.
Right.
You're able now to dictate it, because before it was the parents were dictating, and then you were so head over heels in love, the man was dictating.
Yes.
And then the children start to dictate. And then, you know, so now you have an opportunity to take over your body, take over your finances, take over your credit, take over everything that pertains to you. And when the lady said, my plate is too full, but you know, I always refer to what my ladies is that, you know, it says lay aside every weight that so easily besets you.
Yes.
You got to figure out whatever you're doing, write it down, and what are those things that you can just get rid of?
Right.
Or you can hand them off. If it's your child that's grown, you can push that to the side and give them to God, because God's going to ultimately take care of them.
Yes.
So it makes a big difference that you become in control, because I look at the lady with the red wagon, and she's pulling everybody, you know, as moms and wives, we pulling everybody in the red wagon, and nobody says, hey, you need a glass of water, Mom, while you're pulling us? Or you need to sit down a minute, Mom, while you're pulling the red wagon. Everybody chilling in the red wagon, and we're pulling it constantly.
Yeah.
month after month, day after day, time after time. But nobody will ever stop and say, Mom, no, let's trade places. You get in the wagon and I'm going to pull a while. Nobody tells us that.
Right.
And if they tell us that, what do we usually say?
That's okay.
Don't worry about it. That's okay. I'm good.
I'm good.
I'm good. No,
that. I got the t-shirt for
right. Right. I'm okay. I can do this. Don't worry about it, baby. You just stay there. Knowing that we are tired, but we feel obligated and they feel entitled.
Right.
Not that they don't love you, not that they don't care. It's just that we've been doing it so long that nobody stops and tells us to put the brakes on. Baby girl, no. Sister girl, no. You go do something. You go sit down. You stop. And you have to come to a point where you have those boundaries like you talked about before.
Oh, yes. Yes.
What are your boundaries?
Yes.
And at this point, for the mature woman, you must have them, whether you are married or unmarried. You have to have your own boundaries and those things in which you will accept, not accept, tolerate, not tolerate, do or not do.
I agree. Absolutely. Yes.
The power of no, how powerful is the power of no?
My goodness. The power of no goes beyond what your mind could ever imagine.
Absolutely.
I actually like saying no now.
Absolutely.
I was about to interview somebody on Zoom a couple days ago, and the person didn't show up the way she was supposed to show up. Not, I understand technology, you could be late a couple minutes, but she was telling me that I was late. I'm like, but I'm controlling this right here, the same way that you're controlling what you're doing right now.
Right.
And I would be able to see if she was already on.
Right.
And so right away, because she's not where she's at personally,
Right.
There's a remnant of something going on. She said, "Oh, Queen, you can have your throne." And she just basically dismissed herself from an opportunity that it could have taken her to the next level. So I began to look at my clock and say, you know what? This interview is definitely over. I don't have time to waste anymore because the clock is ticking every single moment of the day. Can you look at, just for a moment, June and July just flew by.
Blink.
Go?
Blink. Yeah.
Like, wait a minute, my summer hasn't even begun yet.
Yeah.
I haven't done anything that I really wanted to do.
Absolutely.
And I was like, wow, we really have to set those boundaries to let people know, okay, this is the time that I can meet with you. This is the time, whatever. And as we move forward, we say, tomorrow, I'm a day older than what I was yesterday.
Yes. Every
what
day.
Did I accomplish this week? Was I effective in what I said I was going to do?
Absolutely.
For me? So this year is a milestone in my life. I'm turning at an age which I'm going to celebrate. I'm inviting my friends, and I'm saying this is all about me. But I want my friend, and whoever comes. But this is about me. I'm going to be able to celebrate. I made it to this age. I am financially sound. So this is what I did, Myra, and I think this is gonna go viral. I wrote a letter to myself, and I give you a little snippet of it. And I wrote, "Dear Roxanne, I've seen you on your journey, and your journey has been totally amazing. I've seen the scars that you've endured. I've seen the people that you had to let go on the side of the road. I watched you when you got on the plane, not knowing where you were gonna land, but I saw you land on your feet. And now that you're on your feet, I want to tell you how beautiful you are to me. That you no longer have to be validated by somebody else.
Right.
But your story will amaze so many people, and it just goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
And when I read it back to myself, the tears began to flow because I recognized that where I am at now, I am happy.
Absolutely.
Roxanne is.
Absolutely. And it's a space you've never been in before.
Exactly.
And this is basically the epitome of a time for women, because in no other time in our lives can we even feel the full effect of celebration for ourselves. because we've already we've had anticipation, but no celebration.
Right.
Even, in the anticipation of getting married, but who anticipates on getting older? We didn't anticipate on getting older until we realized the beauty of that.
Right.
Until we're able to surmise all that we've been through and bring it to the forefront. And now we can look at this ball of stuff and say, there is no other way that I got here and that I'm still standing without the grace of God.
Oh,
there is no other way. And some things that people know about, and there's some things that people don't know about. And I believe the ones that they don't know about are the most powerful ones.
Yes.
That make us stand up and say, you know what, you are truly amazing. Because there's no way things mama don't know about. And I think, when you're coming up, some things you reveal and you don't reveal. And I usually have I have fun, but, say to my mom, I did this. She's like, I didn't know that. And she said, God, I'm so grateful I did it. And I'm like, God, I'm grateful I made it through it. So you think about those things and you say, okay, I've learned. But the problem comes in is when you don't learn.
Yes.
When you realize all of this jumble of stuff is just a big glob of lessons for you to gain wisdom. And all of the lessons are to bring about some results of you being better and doing better going forward. And then something to look forward to.
Yes. I want to also share with you that I've learned a valuable lesson about relationships with men. And you and I have had this conversation before. And I remember when I had to put my big girl panties on. I actually met him face to face, by the way. And it was just truly amazing that he was mesmerized by my outward appearance, my outward beauty. But I wanted to show him the real Roxanne. So I was just, like, hey, let's just put our cards on the table. And when I walked away from that meeting with him, I got in my car and God said, this is what you need. I don't want you to go looking for what you desire. I want for you to be in position that the person that will be in your life is somebody that complements you.
Right.
Purpose meets purpose. He knows what his purpose is. He knows what he's called to do. And then you connect with one another in the spirit realm, and you begin to sit down and have a conversation before you even get intimate. Before, what I'm saying, intimate, not, because we know we're not supposed to do things outside whatever God says. But what I mean by that is have an intimate conversation about who we are. So what if we come on a little bit too strong? At least that person will know this is who Roxanne is. Right.
Absolutely.
Can you handle all of that and be honest about it?
Absolutely. And you know what? When we get to a certain point, we're supposed to know how to handle ourselves when it comes to those kind of intimate relationships. Yes. Nobody's, we're, and I think sometimes women are scared on one end and too excited on the other end. And sometimes we can just get so giddy that we forget. But the power is within us.
Yes.
We hold the power. He wants us. So when we realize that, we don't have to chase him.
Right.
Because if you're chasing him, he's always running and you're always chasing. Then the next thing he runs into, you're going to chase him right into the next one and the next, because he's always going to be running all the time.
Right.
Until he realizes, absolutely, until he realizes what he wants. But as women, as you grow, you mature, there is something about your elegance of style, meaning your mindset, your classiness of who you are, not about what you got and things, but the fact that you are not the kind of woman that, men love confidence.
Yes.
They don't care your weight, your hair, all that. They like confidence. And women with confidence is like, I see you, I hear you, but it ain't all that impressive to the point where I'm going all the way on your side. Whatever you believe in, you got to bring him over here.
Yes.
And he has to be a part of your belief system and what you believe and the things that you want in life. And then you're able to kind of balance it out a little bit as you get to know each other. But in the beginning, what happens is, and I've said it before, and I think I might have said, we lay the gifts at the door.
Come on.
Before
yes.
anything, we're shuffling gifts at the door. We're buying, we're giving, we're doing, we're cleaning, we're scrubbing, we're doing dinners. Now, not just one dinner, we're doing dinners every Sunday. What?
So you can cook?
Yeah, to prove you can cook. At this point, I'm not trying to prove to you I can cook. If we ain't been together, I'm gonna prove to you some of the nice restaurants I might like to go to. But I'm not going to prove to you. No, we ain't going this time around. We're not going to be talking about cooking and cleaning. That should be a given. And matter of fact, he should be able to do some of those things as well.
Thank you.
So that's something that when I tell the women that are in that dating phase that are 50 plus, don't know. You don't have to prove anything. You're at the queenship level now. That's you don't have to prove anything at all. You have to believe in yourself, and that person that wants to connect with you, he gonna connect with you like never before. Absolutely. Because he's gonna understand that you are a queen.
That's right.
And we don't have to do the baby thing anymore. So that's out the door. And then we don't have to worry about moving in. That's out the door. Sure. We don't have to worry about him, using his car. That's out the door. Right. We don't have to worry about him paying our rent or giving us money. That's out the door. So all that is left is what you want.
What you want.
That's it. This is what I want. This is unacceptable. This is acceptable. That's it. No more game plan.
Oh no.
Because you've reached this queenship level now.
Oh yes.
50 plus, you've earned the wings and the stripes. At this point.
Definitely. And
you've earned that.
Right. You've
earned that queenship. You've earned that queenship crown to say, you know what? I ain't chasing, I ain't running, I ain't fixing, I ain't even teaching. If you ain't got it, brother, if you're at this age, then, good to know you. It's good to know you. And you move on. But, it can be a fun time for women when you get to this point in life. This is where you have fun. This is where you let your hair down. This is where you become who you have always wanted to become. And you have gone over the hurdles and you've made it through. And going back to when you said the no, I was reading it that someone said that sometimes no is good for the other person more so than it is for you.
Yes.
That's a ministry in itself to tell the other person no, because you're helping them too. Yes, because, when they're always asking, always needing, always wanting, when you move yourself out of the equation, then you put them in a position where they have to do for themselves.
Yes.
Especially when you've done it on an ongoing basis. So, we've been talking about women 50 plus, and there's a whole lot more stuff to go with us girls, us fly girls, because this is an enormous time and a wonderful time. We never been here before.
That's right. It's a new place.
It's a new place. So every day now, from now on, I think it should be a new place, not only a new place, but a new journey.
Yes.
A new walk.
Oh my goodness. Yes.
A new thought.
Yes.
A new talk. And it has to all be about us. So I want to get us in on a panel of women that's, 45, 47 going up.
I love it. Yes.
And let's talk about that. Some of the good, some of the bad, but a lot of it is joy when you wake up and you know where you are, because you do know. Years ago, women at 40, 45 was just castrated. They were just done.
Oh, yes.
They looked older. The mindset, they look older, they felt older. Yes. Men were leaving them for younger women. They didn't know how to pick themselves up. There is a country in India that when women get to a certain age, they have no husband. Husband's gone, he's left, and they just maybe have a son or a daughter. These women at 40 years old, they go to a off country. They go to some other place where they go to die.
My goodness.
They go to die because they have no children. It's done. It's over. They feel like it's a wrap. They can't move in with their sons because the daughters don't want the moms there.
Uh-huh.
Okay. And then the the husbands don't want the mom there through the daughters, so mom has nowhere to go.
My goodness.
So
I can't even imagine.
It's like, really? Seriously?
Yes.
You know, and if you look at our time, even in America, that how the difference of how we look as opposed to how women are. We're healthier. We're more vibrant. You know, we're moving more. And a lot of times we don't even look the age that we are.
Right.
And that's a blessing. Yes. And especially in a particular culture, people, you don't. So you still have that vitality. This is your go around to where you have something to look forward to. But you gotta make sure that you are being surgical in your steps. Yes. Because this is the time that you want everything that you want to do is got to go right. I was looking at, and my husband told me, he said, I don't know what you're doing. I said, I was looking at some condos to buy in the Dominican Republic.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I went there. I went there. I was looking for something in Destin, and I said, let me try the DR. Let me try Puerto Rico. And I told my husband, I was like, because that's one of my things is that I am going to buy a beachfront property. Me. Yes. I am going to do that. That's my me thing. And of course for my husband as well, but that's my accomplishment that I want to make. And I saw those homes in the Dominican Republic, girl. I'm like, man, Lord, this is yours, and I'm putting it on my list, but I'm putting it at the top right now because they were just beautiful. So it's about thinking larger, thinking higher, knowing that it's possible, you know, knowing it's attainable, and then working for it, just like you do when you're working your consulting business and helping those women elevate their mindsets.
Right, right. And we have to make sure that we let women know, this just came to me, that it's okay for you to not have the knowledge, but we want to help you get the knowledge. Absolutely. It's okay if you're in that place. Don't feel bad about yourself if you don't have it, because we've all been there.
All been there.
We should always position ourselves to have somebody in our lives who's already where we're trying to get to.
Absolutely. It can help you get those places and get those things. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. And I want to talk more about, and I don't think the women are not, I don't want to say aging, but growing in wisdom and growing in grace. When you look at somebody like Cicely Tyson, and one comes to mind, and your mom, 82, my mom's 80, and you look at them and you see they too were not at this point that they are at. Right. You know, Cicely Tyson wasn't 92. Your mom, my mom wasn't in the 80s. You know, so they were where we are too today. Right. And so I think that we have to begin to look at that Roxanne, that Myra at 80. Yeah. You know, and not have to try to figure it out, but to have it planned out, just like you were talking about.
Right. As a matter of fact, my coach gave me an assignment and said, go into the neighborhood that you want to live in. Yeah. Go look at a house.
Absolutely.
You don't even know how God's going to make it happen. But if that's the type of lifestyle that you are looking forward to when you retire, then you need to go into that atmosphere and just saturate yourself in it. If you're looking for a specific type of car that you want to drive when you retire, then go do a test drive. You don't have to be forced into buying the car, but see how you look in it. What does it feel like when you get into the car? And more importantly, for these women over 50, who is your circle? Who are you attached to? If you're attached to women that, I'll never, but get out the violin. Right. Remove yourself from them. It's not that you don't love them. You still love them, but you're going to a different place. So what does that look like? Who are your friends? So that's the main inventory that I took. I said, my God, the majority of my friends are in this category. Yeah. I don't want to be there anymore.
You're looking up. Right.
And I'm looking up.
Right.
So I had to change my circle.
The circle influence is important.
Yeah.
It's extremely, extremely important that women that are maturing in life get themselves around people that are moving in a direction that they're moving into. So, Roxanne, has been good. I know you have other meetings to go to, but I tell you, it's always good when we have this conversation. But I want us to get together and push some of this narrative for women, because I'm finding women 60 and 70 years old in a bad space. Yes. And I think that we can talk about relationships. That's greatly a part of it, but we got to talk about where you're going to land. Yes. You know, you can't fly a plane and you don't know you don't know where you're going to land at. Right. You just can't land in a dirt field. You got to know where you're going to land. And there's some amazing places out here for women to live. And there's some where you can live at the status of queenship. And that's kind of what I want us and women going forward to live in that status of queenship, because you deserve that right. That mantle was been given to you. You've served it. You've done it. You've done well. And now it's time for you to see what other things God has for you.
Yes, and to be a prophet, prophesy to yourself the thing that you want and believe it and write it down. The book of Habakkuk says, write the vision down and make it plain. Make it plain. Written it down. If you're not looking at it every day, everywhere in my house, I have things to remind me of where I'm going. If God would give me a jet today, I would say, take me to Dubai. I'm ready to go. I don't know when I'm coming back, but I'm going to go. But
you're going to go. I have to tell you about that story. I've had a one-way ticket. And when you got a one-way ticket, you are planning on doing something. So that's be the mindset. I'm going to get it done, and that's going to happen. So, Roxanne, tell our audience how they can get in touch with you.
They can get in touch with me. My phone number is 404-242-3430. They can go to my website, which is www.kgiinternational.com. And they can also reach me on social media. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest. I'm on all the social media sites. And I have a radio broadcast of my own that's on Monday nights at 8 o'clock. It's called Real Talk on QLJN Radio. And I'm always looking for women that I can interview that are ready to go to the top. We're going to rock out the 50s, the 60s, the 70s. Absolutely. I am Minister Roxanne Robinson, ready to rock you and take you to the top.
Awesome. Well, Roxanne, I thank you so very much for taking out your busy time. And of course, we'll be talking a little bit more soon. About this particular subject, because I want to be happy as they grow in their wisdom days, and that's important. So you have an amazing day, and we will talk soon.
Okay, thank you, Myra.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
There you go. That was Roxanne. Roxanne Brown Robinson, and she's doing some amazing things. And we want to encourage her. Go to her website if you have ladies that are needing some additional help or just somebody to consult with. Stop by and see her, give her a ring. She is very open to talk to anybody. And we're going to keep on this subject because I see too many, Roxanne sees too many, and we want to make sure that we are here to touch you in the ways you need to be touched. So this is Myra McKnight with Can You Talk? Thank you for joining me, and we will see you another time again. Thank you.
Get at me for features.